Welcome back. Welcome back to the Kovacs Report. It's Wednesday. It's new comic book day. I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to the books. Let's dive into the first one, Absolute Batman Annual 2025. We've all been looking forward to this. There's been a little controversy behind Daniel Warren Johnson. Some pictures that he's drawn of Batman. There's, of course, been a little bit of a sort of side eye of like, what's this story going to be about? And we all know what it's going to be about, don't we? But we're going to find out in a minute because I'm going to go for it page by page. I'm going to give you my thoughts. You may like them, you may not, but we can talk about it afterwards. But like the video if you can. And please, if you're new, hit subscribe. Okay, let's get into this book. Now, I've been looking forward to it. I've been reading up a few of the reviews. Okay. Now, I want to state before I get into this, okay, and I really, really want this to be very clear, okay? I think white supremacists are bad, terrible, horrible human beings. Do I believe that they deserve punishment and justice? Absolutely. Absolutely 100%, okay? Because before we get into this and I start maybe not making certain comments about the story, I don't want you to think, I don't want anyone to think that's because I support white supremacy in any way, shape, or form. I do not. I'm here to talk about the story. Is it well constructed? Does it have nuance? Is it, is it any good? Or is it just another 20-odd pages of Batman beat up bad guys? That's what I really want to get across. Now, let's dive in. Now, I do love Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformer run. It was fantastic. So as you can guess, I was excited to see him tackle this. He's the current flavor of the month, I guess. So that's why he's got this fantastic opportunity to do something cool with Batman, an absolute Batman. Now, this is the absolute universe, so, it doesn't have to follow the same rules as the mainline Batman universe. And there's one thing in here, which I think is probably a chat from the video, and that's about Batman killing or not killing. But we'll get to that as we get in the video. Just want to put that in your mind right now. So this is a pre-Absolute Batman #1 story. It's going to tell us a story before any of those runs started. Very much like a sort of year one story, really. I guess this isn't like Batman Year One, Absolute Batman Year One, but it is one of those first adventures of Absolute Batman. Maybe it's one of those stories that helped shape him. Now, we jump back even further when Brucey Boy's a kid and he's chatting to his dad. He's reading the paper at breakfast time and it says extremist bombing. Obviously, it states that many are dead too. The world is a bit of a mess, just like it is today. And again, that's exactly what this story is about. This story is Daniel Warren Johnson's opinion of the world right now. Now, does it have nuance, like I mentioned earlier? And I'm going to use that word quite a lot. Or is it just another sledgehammer, okay, in the face to get a message across? Whether that message is right or wrong, okay, is it just another messaging vehicle? Now, that's fine. Again, if there's a good story interwoven into it, that's all I care about is the good story. It can be as political as you want, but make it a good story. So Brucey is questioning, right? He says, why did they do that, Dad? And Bruce's dad he doesn't know. He's just like us. He looks at the wall and goes, what the fuck is going on? Really? Why are people the way they are? Why is there white supremacy? Why are there terrible things happening in the world? Things that we really kind of feel powerless against. Anyway, Brucey Boy says, what do we do? How do we make them stop? And Bruce's dad's like, I don't know. I'm just one person. I don't know how to fix the world. He's a teacher, by the way, in this universe, if you didn't already know. He says, but I know what I'm good at. Teaching. Now, this is where I thought the nuance was going to come in, but it isn't. It doesn't. He says, every student I meet, I now have a chance to make a difference in their life. So maybe someday one of my students won't make the same mistakes these people make. Now, that's a great, great mentality to have. Does it always work at this reward? No, it doesn't really. People are just so single-minded now. They kind of obscure any objective truths or new information if it doesn't align with their ideology. And that is the sad state of the world. And this is what they're dealing with in this world. Now, Brucey Boy, as you can see, he's learning from his father. His father was a good man. He was full of morals. He's full of empathy. He was full of all the positive qualities you want to sort of impart onto your children. Now, interspersed in this first page are these orange panels. Now, they're the sort of right now moments where you see these bad guys in absolute terror fleeing from the flames. And you see this silhouette rise through the flames of Absolute Batman, showing basically like, someday will somebody do something to stop these things from happening? And it's saying, well, yes, I I did. I rose to do something different, Dad, but this is the route I chose. Now, he didn't choose teaching or education. No, he chose the hammer. And oh boy, what an amazing full page. It does look glorious. This is probably why he got the job to draw this book, because you know what? He is a damn good artist, okay? Okay, there's some things that I want to point out which I think are just not great, but on the whole, it looks really cool. I mean, look at that. It's terrifying. Look at the flames. You can taste the soot in your mouth, right? Feel the heat. So Batman there, bulked out, like mega bulked out with that flamethrower over his shoulder, and he's been tearing down these white supremacists. You see a very familiar flag that represents the white supremacy there, burning in the flames too. Very, very cool page. So far, we've had an interesting start. This is where it falls apart a little bit for me, okay? So they Slaughter Swamp. We see Brucey Boy here in his earlier days in a beat-up truck, driving past the city sort of limits to get into the city. And he knows there's this huge encampment there. And the priest, the church, they're trying to sort of help as many people as they can with food and aid and probably all the other things you'd hope. And there's this woman here with a young child with a red baseball cap on. And they are people of colour, as you can notice. So are they illegal immigrants? I don't know. I don't know. Are they people that have been displaced because of what's happened in this town? I guess so. But it's very ambiguous, some of these things, right? It's like, how did they get there? Are they all people of colour? Or are they a mix of people that came to this town and things went sour? I don't know. Anyway, Brucey turns up to this pawn shop, and this sort of backwater hick you can see is there waiting for him. Brucey needs he needs a little re-up. He needs some weaponry. All right, he needs some weaponry. And as you can see, there's flamethrowers, assault rifles, shotguns, all sorts of ammunition, rubber bullets, beanbags, the works, non-lethal stuff, bar the flamethrower that Brucey is after. This guy doesn't really care who he sells to. He just cares about the money. And as that deal is almost over and the money is handed over, Brucey hears some commotion, let's just say, coming from around the alleyway. And he comes there, and that little girl, or rather that little boy, and his mother, her mother, his mother, I'm losing track of things here. Anyway, these guys, they're there, and of course they're being beaten up by these racist pieces of SHIT. And of course they've got pig masks on, naturally, okay? And this is the thing. This is the thing that bugs me. It's also blatant, the sort of most like brazen stereotypes of this. It loses all nuance here and just becomes a beat 'em up story. And again, I'm going to stress, do I think white supremacy is bad? Yes. Am I defending them? No. Am I saying this story could be told better? That's exactly what I'm telling. And this is where it falls apart a little bit for me. Now, it looks cool as shit all the way through. And there's some cool badass dialogue with Batman saying things. But the dialogue on the whole, again, it's just, again, it lacks any nuance. It's just the expected caricature stereotypes all the way through. And what it does is it takes away the importance of the story to me. It really, really does. And it's quite annoying because I was looking forward. Anyway, they say the things that you'd expect them to say, right? Okay, what's that language you're spitting at us, huh? Don't you know where you are? This town belongs to us. You're the stranger here. You know, it's just the dialogue that you expect. And I guess, do these people say that? They absolutely do. But come on. Make this story count. Make this story count. You've obviously got a message that you want to get across in this book and you want people to learn from, right? Okay, you're doing the education here. You're trying to highlight something that you feel is bad in the world. And I agree, it is terrible. You know, it is terrible. Okay, so make it more than a punch up in a book, right? It's so annoying. It's a waste of opportunity. Anyway, like I say, I love the art, but you get these pages where Bruce, who looks like a guy who really works out in one panel, suddenly has an arm as big as his body and a fist bigger than like two of his heads. It just looks out of place. I know you want to show that he's powerful, you know what I mean? He's the Batman and everything else, but it's just weird. It happens a few times throughout the book. It's just so overblown. It kind of takes you out again of that reality of the fact there's a serious issue that you're discussing in this book. Anyway, he starts punching the hell out of them. But of course, that backwater pawn shop owner, of course he's one of them, right? This is a small town. You're either with them, right, or working for them. So he clocks him around the back of the head and he goes down. And then we meet DJ, who's obviously one of the sort of leaders of these white supremacist scumbags. He's got his tattoo there to show his allegiance to. And he's like, oh, I hate them city boys. You know what I mean? Again, the dialogue is just so dumbed down. Let's give them a kicking, boys. And that's what they do. They start stomping on him. However, he's just been hit over the head, knocked unconscious with a wrench. And 2 panels later, and seconds in time, he's awake again, telling the people that are being attacked to run away, run away. Anyway, they start stomping on him, and out of absolutely nowhere, this priest jumps over Bruce to protect him from the beating. And of course, this is a small town, so these people in these masks, everyone knows who they are, right? As Father Peters here says, you know, Jeffrey, I've known you since before you could walk. This is not you. And Jeffrey takes his pig mask off. You see a young boy who's been indoctrinated into this white supremacy cult. You can see that he's struggling maybe with what he's doing, you know. He doesn't know how to deal with the issues that are affecting him, and he struggles. Now, the priest has saved Bruce, essentially. And old DJ here says, leave those bitches on the ground where they belong. Let's do what we came here to do. You know, it's just so gung-ho. There's no nuance to it. Oh, it's written for the lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? And that's sad. Anyway, back at the church, I'm assuming it's the church or maybe the priest's apartment, his home. We have a little chat. And here we get a bit more about the priest and what's happening. And it's interesting, of course. But I will add, right? Where is this place? Because it doesn't really tell you where it is. And then later, I will get to that point. I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, they really got you good. They got us good, I should say. And then Bruce notices a picture, and he looks at this picture. And there's the priest in his younger days with some good people of the town folks, you know, stopping the bad things from happening back in the day when times were better, let's just say, or at least better than they are now. Now, Bruce asks about the tattoo and who these boys are. And Father Peters here says, 6 months ago, we had an outsider come, recruiting. I don't know much about him, except that he's been filling the holes in the hearts of our boys, of all the men here, really. He's given them a dark place to go. Then he explains that the boy and the mother, they are from an encampment, and these backwater hick white supremacist scumbags, they are planning to run them all out of town tonight by any means necessary. So Bruce realizes he better stop this, okay? Because Bruce is the good guy, right? Bruce is the good guy. So he goes out to his truck. Now, this is what's confusing me, because is the priest's house exactly where Bruce was parked earlier? Because if the truck was burnt out, how is it even still running? I mean, it's just a bit strange. I don't know. Anyway, his truck's there. And of course, there's a suitcase in the back of the truck. I wonder what's in there, eh? Hey, it's not Christmas presents, I can tell you. But he says, the priest says, so this is where you're getting this priest that's trying to be this voice of reason. Where are you going? So they torch your car. It doesn't matter. He says, where are you going? What are you going to do? He goes, sometimes peace isn't an option. Now, this is the part where I'm saying it lacks nuance, because it's basically saying, right, that violence is an option. Killing people is an option. Now, it is the absolute universe, you'll say. So it doesn't have to conform with the way Batman is in the mainline universe. And that's absolutely fine. So we are establishing in this book, at least, I mean, it's been sort of insinuated in the other books that this Batman is prepared to kill for what he believes in, right? Now, I think that's a bit odd. All right, because this is our hero, okay? He's not an anti-hero, really. He's a hero. And I'm not just kind of sure how that sits with me. It's a conversation for the comments, you know. I mean, it's interesting. Should absolute Batman kill or not? Or should he sort of conform to the no-killing policy? Because, you know, to teach us that, you know, just because these bad guys are doing bad things doesn't justify you doing the bad things, right? There's a system there, justice. But he's saying, listen, the justice system doesn't work. So we have to take things into our own hands. But violence equals violence. If you approach something with violence, you are going to get violence back. Now, I know these people are dumbasses anyway, right? And any type of reasoning is not going to work with these type of people. But is it the answer? Who knows? You kill some of them, they'll kill some of yours. It's an endless cycle. Maybe that's part of the message here. I don't know. Anyway, back at the encampment, as Brucey narrates, so sometimes words don't work, meaning, you know, I'm going in there, we ain't talking, we're going to be fighting. We see that they have assembled, ready to go down to that camp and basically obliterate it, right? Because they're bad people. Now, DJ, one of those leaders, he's down there with his sort of baseball bat with barbed wire written around it. But the cops have turned up. Oh, thank God for that. Maybe these cops have turned up to stop the bloodshed, because there will be bloodshed. And he says, hey, DJ. And he goes, Powell. You know we can't let you do this. And they front up and you think there's going to be a big altercation between the police and between the white supremacists. But they just have a little giggle because they're all in it together. They're also white supremacists too. Now, are there bad cops out there? Yes. Are there white supremacist cops out there? Yes. This small town, their cops are bad. Of course they are. Again, no nuance, right? No nuance whatsoever. Anyway, good to have you here, brothers. Good to have you all here. Let's clean up this town. And they go in there. They're not moving anybody on. They are going in there and they are brutally, brutally hurting people. I'm sure people are dying. And here we get more of that, dialogue that you expect. I am the new truth. I am power, pure power. And just before he can say the words white book, guess who turns up? Out of fucking nowhere. Just like they're in the middle of this encampment. No one saw Batman just stroll through. Did he jump from a great height and land in the middle, exactly where DJ? How the fuck did he get through? But he's there because we need this panel, right? And there's a cool as shit panel. I love this panel where he just snaps his arm clean, snaps it. Look at that bone protruding. It's time for some payback. Anyway, Batman goes to work and, look, he's kicking the hell out of these police officers because they are bad. But is that the answer? I don't know. Anyway, the fight continues. We've got this extremely overblown proportions of Batman here. Like, look at the size of his knee and his thigh compared to the guy's head and the rest of his body. It just takes me out of it. No, it's artistic license. That's a style. It is, right? But it just feels odd. It's just like, what the hell? Anyway, the pawn shop guy, he's making an appearance because, of course, he needs to get his comeuppance. He's trying to hold one of these young people hostage. Of course, it's the same little boy with the red cap on from earlier, right? He's about to blow his brains out, but Batman's like, no, and chucks some of his batarangs into his eyes, which looks really, really cool, and then just absolutely knees him in the head. Now, the thing is, there's 3 batarangs in his head, which look pretty deeply embedded, right? I'm not going to kick someone or knee someone in the head in case those batarangs go through me. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So he goes down, and Brucey notices that the keys are there, the keys to the pawn shop. So what's he up to? He's got a plan. Anyway, it starts to thunder, of course. Starts to rain, and DJ's there. He realizes that his days are numbered. And Brucey comes on and just starts boom, 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 pounding into him. He's killing people, right? He doesn't give a shit anymore. And out of fucking nowhere again, Father Peters, right, just disappears again, jumps over the guy, goes, stop. Because he wants to do the right thing, right? He believes violence isn't the answer, right? He believes, right, that through education, maybe you can change people. But I mean, let's be honest, most of these people's minds will never be changed, But anyway, there's just got to be some moral backbone through this story, and that's where the priest comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?" Says, "This won't fix it. It won't." So I don't know how to make it better. I don't know how to not make it worse. He goes, "Please, this isn't the way." And they go, "This is my way." And that is his way because he's decided that he's going to kill people. Anyway, back at the baddies, back at these white supremacist scumbags clubhouse, let's call it. Some of the people have escaped from the encampment to go and get reinforcements. And we see Batman there, thunder cracking behind him, looking up, thinking, let's go get him. How's he going to get there? Well, now we know where the Batmobile came from because this is this giant industrial Caterpillar vehicle here. And I guess that's where he got it, made his modifications and made that sort of absolute behemoth of a Batmobile that we've seen in the main book. Anyway, turns out the white supremacists, they're regrouping. We find out that Brucey's also burnt down the pawn shop, so they couldn't get any more weapons. And he's going to beat the rest of them up. And he crashes through the building. It's quite spectacular. Again, the action in this book's really, really, really cool, It's what you want. It's what you want. We see Batman smashing the bad guys and everything else. So it looks really, really, really cool. Anyway, he gets out and he just starts swinging that bat hammer around and kicking the living hell. Calls these people roaches. And he gets the flamethrower out and he burns the clubhouse and all of them to death. Yes. They are all dead. And of course, the priest comes back, because, at the end of the day, he believes that they are still human and they still deserve a second, third chance, whatever. And he starts patching them up. And he says, I know, son, stay still. As this guy's like, it hurts. And Batman's like, why? Why are you helping it then? He says, you have your way and I have mine. And old Bat's there. He walks off. He's got his new Batmobile. And then we go back to sort of where we begun. Brucey talking to his dad over breakfast. Says, you did a lot of cool stuff when you were younger, Dad. He goes, I don't know about that. He says, you made a difference. You did something. He says, I'm going to do that. You've inspired me, Dad, to do something. Okay. He says, I'm going to be just like you. And then we get this little reveal is that next to that priest was his dad before he had the mustache. And back then, when they were, fighting for peace and I guess civil rights and everything back in the era where his father was a younger man, him and that priest, they stood side by side, good men. And we find out that's probably why he went to the town in the first place. Maybe Bruce was going on a sort of discovery trip after his father died, meet people that knew him, find out about his past. Maybe this is where his father, was born and grew up. But anyway, he says, I just have to figure out how. So we know how he figures it out. He becomes a demon of the night. Demon of the night. He says, I know who you are deep down, Bruce. All you have to do is be yourself. And there we have it. I'll always be proud of you. But would he? Would his father be proud of him killing people, no matter how bad those people are? Would his dad be proud that he just burnt all these human scumbags to death? I don't know. But there we have it. Do I like the story? I like the idea of it. I thought it looked cool, for the most part. Like, everyone likes seeing white supremacists getting beaten up. But I just think it lacked nuance. It needed a little bit more depth to it to really bring his message, Darren Warren Johnson's message, to the forefront, because all this says is that violence is the only option. That's what this says. It says this is the only way to solve this problem. And it is a problem. And I agree. But I'm just not sure how I feel about it. I went on the internet after I read this, and everyone is, of course, lauding this as the greatest piece of literature ever known to Batman. But I don't feel that way. I think it's a good annual story, right? We get to see Batman beat up the bad guys. There's a message underneath it all that's a positive, other than the fact that people are dying. But there we have it. But there's more. There is more. James Harren and Dave Stewart have worked on a story called Sanctuary, okay, where we get these strange, again, cult-like bad guys all wearing skulls on their heads. And they've gone to this building. It looks like this building is a church, and it looks like this church is under construction of some kind, or renovation, rather. And that's what we find. They're all there. Now, this mysterious, hunched-over, tall guy. Is this Black Mask? I think this is Black Mask, right? It must be. It must be a Black Mask before the Black Mask storyline in Absolute Batman's first run. So they go into this church. They find out that they get their sort of bearings of where they are. They're looking for weapons, looking for things. And we see these pictures of this family. And this young man wearing this broken skull mask, it's obviously he's the young boy in there. So this is actually maybe his father's church. Maybe his father's the priest. Now they're concocting some kind of explosive, some kind of napalm in the kitchen because something is coming. Something is coming, and the leader sends the sentries up to the roof to spot that person coming. And they seem a little bit fearful, but they're organized, right? They are organized. Now, Black Mask guy here, he says to this young guy, he grew up in a church. He says, it's my dad's house. After my parents split with dwindling congregations, my dad and his wife started a business that flips churches into McMansions. And they open up the safe. There's not much there. And then his father actually comes out because I sleep with a shotgun these days because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the shotgun in the safe because they need weapons because something's coming. Obviously, it's Batman. He said, what have you done now, Victor? His father just so disappointed in him. Anyway, Batman is coming. So he says, I thought I recognized your voice, Victor, and you brought friends. I called the cops. You could take what you want and go. But this Black Mask says, cops aren't too punctual these days, Pops. Something much worse is on its way. So I thought you were in Florida for the winter, Dad. He said, Lan got sick. It was aggressive. She went quick. So it seems like he's been nursing his wife and she's died. And the young lad, Victor, he looks a little bit startled by this. And Father said, I would have told you, but I never know where the hell you are. So it looks like he's kind of been, pulled out of a sort of a good environment into this sort of black skull cult thing, and he's lost contact with all his loved ones and his family. Anyway, there's not much love between the son and the father here, as you can see. But trouble has arrived. As we can see, these sentries have been dispatched, and an all too familiar cape flows in the night as lightning strikes. Anyway, they go after him, but it's not going to work. Oh, it's not going to work at all. One of them knocks out his dad by the looks of it and takes the shotgun. Okay, which is probably bad, really. I mean, I don't think that guy turned up and expected his father to be knocked out or potentially killed. But something worse is coming. He's like, guns, old man. We need the guns. Where are they? And there's a floor safe behind the bar. So while they're trying to get all armed up and the kitchen people are concocting whatever deadly cocktail they're concocting to get ready for the Batman, starts making mincemeat of them. Now we find some weapons. We got a bloody Uzi, I think, is that of some kind there. And this Black Mask chap, he's got some green reincarnated Hyperborean witches dust of some kind, synthesized from the spinal cords of frightened orphans. At least that's what they said online. So maybe this is a ties in what's going on in Arc M. Maybe that's the stuff that made Bane and has been injected into Batman. Maybe it's an early version of it. I don't know, but I'm guessing it's obviously connected to that. Anyway, the old dad here, he's been hiding more than an Uzi. He's got a couple of grenades. So they are off. They're off to get Batman. Batman's coming in, very silent, working from the shadows, taking them out one by one like he does. And then he appears, monstrous. And these drugs this chap took, which further sort of propel the idea that it's something to do with Arkham and what's going on there. He starts sort of blowing out, going all grotesque, turning into this muscled man. Maybe this isn't Black Mask. I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, you get some silly dialogue here. You burned me once, you son of a bitch. Holy flame. Anyway, the shooting starts indiscriminately. This guy's lost his mind on these drugs. He's laughing. Batman's evading. Feel my righteous hand, demon. I am the sex organs of machine angels. What are you? Again, the dialogue felt a little bit out of place. I mean, it looks cool. The fights are dynamic and the coloring's nice. Okay, but some of the dialogue has to be polished a little bit. Anyway, the kitchenettes, they come running out with this stuff to try and take Batman down. But of course, he makes short work of them. One of them takes a whole load to the face, and the other one, well, a couple of them take a whole load to the face. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Anyway, they decide to run, leaving the bad guy behind, or rather, the sort of ringleader here, Sunburn to make light and cast out the dark. And he's got both grenades. He's going to take them all down. There's a huge explosion, but Batman jumped out of the way and didn't die and rescued the father. He says, "You're okay. You're all right, kid." But his son, I think his son has learned a lesson from this, is not to join crazy cults with skull masks. There you have it. It's a story. It was interesting, fast, dynamic. I kind of wanted the dialogue to be a bit more sharp. I like the way how Batman, was picking them off one by one from the shadows. Okay, it kind of feels more of a traditional Batman that way. And I liked that. I did like that indeed. That was thrown in here. So there we have it. Now we've got this couple of page story at the end by Meredith McClaren, where basically she compares real bats to Batman and the people of Gotham. And it's cutesy. It's a 2-page story. We see Barbara here, and I guess that's Alfred at the bottom. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, that's it. That's the annual. That's the 2025 Absolute Batman annual. Did I like it? Yeah, it was okay. It passed the time. Was it sensational? Was it this giant sort of piece of incredible Batman lore? No, not really. If Batman beats up the bad guys because it's trendy right now to have, have a story where you are passionate about a subject that you are relating to real life, let's just say. But there we go. It's cool. We got to see where the Batmobile came from, which I like. We got to see a little bit of Bruce's past before, he became what he is now. It's interesting. It's drawn well. It's an annual. It's forgettable. Yeah, probably. Once the internet have torn this apart because of the obvious political parallels to the real world. And it all settled down just to another average Batman annual. It was all right. That's it. Most of my thoughts. Got nothing else to say, really. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Anyway, we got plenty of reviews coming this week. A lot of Age of Revelation tie-ins to come. Let's hope they are better than what's come before too. So those are my thoughts. Do let me know yours. Hit subscribe if you can. I'd really, really appreciate it. And just to confirm, I do not support white supremacy. I like the fact Batman beats him up. Okay, I just want nuance in these stories because they resonate more and they educate people more, and they might just have more of an effect on people, which is what you want, right? You want to change opinions. You want the world to get better. There we have it. Cool cover, though. Anyway, catch you next time, guys. Stay safe.